The sun dipped low over the rolling hills of Andalusia, casting long golden shadows across the land as Santiago, a young shepherd, led his flock toward the ruined church where he would rest for the night. The sheep followed him without question, trusting in the boy who had guided them for so long, but Santiago's thoughts were elsewhere. Beneath the open sky, where countless stars blinked in silent understanding, he dreamed of a different life, one filled with adventure, discovery, and something he could not yet name. That night, as he lay with his head against his worn backpack, he had the dream again, the one that had haunted him for nights on end. In the dream, a child appeared and took his hand, leading him across deserts and mountains until they reached the Egyptian pyramids. There, the child pointed to a spot in the sand and whispered, "Here lies your treasure." Just as Santiago knelt to dig, the dream ended, and he awoke to the soft sounds of his sheep stirring. The dream would not leave him. It clung to him like an unspoken truth, urging him to seek answers. Determined, he traveled to a nearby town where he found a gypsy woman known for interpreting dreams. Her home was small, filled with the scent of burning incense and the weight of unseen forces. She listened carefully as Santiago described his vision, then studied him with sharp eyes before finally speaking. "Go to Egypt," she said. "The treasure you seek is there." Santiago frowned. That was all. No details, no map, just a direction? He hesitated, but the woman only smiled. "Dreams are the language of the universe," she said. "And when a dream repeats, it is fate calling you." Conflicted, Santiago wandered through the town square, trying to push the thought away, when an old man in a simple robe approached him. His eyes were filled with wisdom, and he spoke with a quiet authority that made Santiago listen. "I am Melchizedek, the king of Salem," the man said. "And I know what you seek." Santiago blinked in surprise, but before he could respond, the old man continued. "You have been given a vision of your personal legend, the one thing you were born to do. Few listen to that call, but those who do find great reward." He reached into his robe and pulled out 2 small stones, one black, one white. "These are Urim and Thummim," he said. "They will help you read the omens when you are lost." Santiago hesitated. "But what if I fail?" The old man smiled. "When you truly want something, all the universe conspires in helping you achieve it." The words stirred something deep within Santiago, and before long, he made his decision. Selling his flock, he used the money to board a ship to Africa, the beginning of a journey that would change him forever. The moment he arrived in Tangier, reality struck hard. The bustling city was overwhelming, filled with unfamiliar sights and sounds, and before he could even find his footing, he was tricked and robbed of all his money. Alone and penniless in a foreign land, he felt a crushing sense of regret. Had he made a terrible mistake? But then he remembered Melchizedek's words. The universe conspires to help those who follow their personal legend. Determined not to give up, Santiago found work in a crystal shop owned by an aging merchant. The man was kind but weary, skeptical of dreams and ambitions. "People get comfortable," he told Santiago one day. "They are afraid to change, even when they are unhappy." For months, Santiago worked tirelessly, introducing new ideas that helped the struggling shop thrive. He earned enough money to return home if he chose, but something held him back. He was no longer the same boy who had arrived in Tangier, lost and afraid. He had learned to adapt, to see opportunities where others saw obstacles. And deep down, he knew his journey wasn't over. So, with newfound confidence, he joined a caravan traveling across the Sahara Desert. Among its travelers was an Englishman who spoke of alchemy, the art of turning metal into gold. He was searching for the legendary Alchemist, a man said to possess the secrets of the universe. Santiago listened carefully, intrigued not by gold, but by the idea that the world had hidden truths waiting to be discovered. As they crossed the vast desert, Santiago learned to listen, to the wind, to the silence, to the language of the world itself. The desert, though seemingly empty, was alive with wisdom. "The desert tests all men," an old Bedouin told him. "It strips away what is unnecessary, leaving only what is true." After weeks of travel, the caravan arrived at an oasis, a lush refuge in the middle of the barren land. It was here that Santiago met Fatima, a woman whose presence stopped time itself. With one glance he knew this was love. They spoke beneath the date palms, their words flowing like the desert breeze. She listened as he spoke of his journey, his dreams, his search for treasure. And when he told her he must continue on, she did not ask him to stay. "If you are meant to be mine, the desert will bring you back to me," she said simply. Her faith in his destiny strengthened him. One night, as Santiago stood among the dunes, he had a vision, an image of an army attacking the oasis. Unsure of what to do, he followed his intuition and warned the elders. When his prophecy came true, he was hailed as a man of wisdom, and word of his gift reached the alchemist himself. "You have learned to speak the language of the world," the alchemist told him. "Now, let me teach you the final lesson." Together, they set out across the desert. Along the way, the alchemist taught Santiago that everything in the universe was connected, that to truly transform something, one must first transform themselves. "Listen to your heart," he said, "for it knows the way." As they neared the pyramids, the alchemist gave Santiago one last challenge. "To reach your treasure, you must become the wind," he said. Santiago was bewildered. "How can I become the wind?" But the alchemist only smiled. "Ask the desert, ask the wind, ask the sun. They will guide you." And so Santiago did. He closed his eyes, reaching beyond himself, listening with his soul. The desert whispered, the wind stirred, the sun burned brightly. And then, as if answering an unspoken command, a powerful gust rose, swirling around Santiago, lifting the sands in a golden storm. He had done it. Finally, Santiago reached the pyramids, his heart pounding. He dug feverishly, hands clawing at the earth, but before he could find anything, a group of thieves appeared. They beat him, demanding to know what he was searching for. "A dream," Santiago gasped. "A dream led me here." The leader of the thieves sneered. "A fool's dream," he said. "I once had a dream too, of a treasure buried beneath a tree in an old church in Spain. But only a fool would cross the world for such things." And then they left him, broken but laughing. Santiago lay in the sand, realization washing over him. The treasure had been at home all along. With renewed strength, he journeyed back to Spain, back to the ruined church where it had all begun. And there, beneath the same tree where he had once dreamed of his journey, he dug. His hand struck wood. A chest, filled with gold and jewels, gleamed in the moonlight. Santiago laughed, tears streaming down his face. The treasure had always been there, but without the journey, he never would have understood its value. As the wind whispered around him, he heard a familiar voice. "Well done, boy." He smiled. He knew where he was going next. The desert was waiting. And so was Fatima. If you liked this summary, consider subscribing to our channel. Your support gives us the motivation to keep creating more engaging content.